Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I was messing around with the mic settings. Let's try this again. Fantastic. Man, I dislike that. But anyway, so just saying, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. And I was just saying I was going to wait a few minutes for people to pop in and figure out who's here, who's coming back for another session, who's joining us for the first time, that sort of thing. So we are working on the Kashyyyk build. As I said, I did a lot of work. Since the last session. I worked quite a bit last night. I think I worked till about 2 a.m. Welcome. It seems to be some of our Australian friends joining us. So Canvas One coming in. Amazing painter. Go check out his stuff on YouTube. You can find some of his stuff. Also an amazing scratch builder. So hopefully the stuff I'm going to show tonight is not too much to his disliking in terms of quality. And then Aaron, of course, from Back to Basics, joining us again. I think you joined me, Aaron, so you got to stop meeting me like this, I think is how that exactly goes. So like I said, we're going to be looking at the progress that I made. I really got inspired by looking at the images again last night. I spent quite a bit of time looking at the Kashyyyk hut and all the ways that I could add to it. So I really went well beyond what I initially had planned. I mean, obviously I didn't change the structure, but I did start adding quite a bit of extra features. I was really worried about the texture of the building picking up paint in terms of it being all the same, and I really wanted to add some variation to that. So I will show you what I did on the building. I'll kind of show you in this image here, and then we'll move over to the camera images. Let me just make sure you guys let me know. There we go. Sound here. Sound on the other mic, which I'm not standing at. How about now? Perfect. Let's try now. I think you guys should be able to hear me now, and I'll have one more mic over at the table. So 2 mics, new settings, still messing around with this, but I think we got it now. So you guys can see that. Let me pop back over here to my face for a second. There we go. And now we should have everything sorted. So thanks for helping me out working the kinks there. So here's what we have. This is the building that we've been working on. And I kind of have to go in close. This is the face cam, so it's not really going to pick up this too well, but hopefully that's all right. And so you'll see what I've done. I've gone in and added actually an extra piece over the window. So I added a window frame just to frame that window out a little bit more. So that created another recess. And again, it's white on white, so it's a little difficult. We already added in the cowling there. We added in the 45 frames there. And then we had the railing. So all that you basically see me working on last night. So fair. That's fantastic. So Aaron is technically a few more. So then what I ended up doing is I went over to the blank panels and I decided that I wanted to add in some wood grain. So I started adding in, let's see if we can focus. So I started adding in these panels here. So again, those are the blank panels. They may not be 100% done, but I did want to put in something on the blank panels. Remember, these are going to back against the tree. And so you won't see a lot of it. So basically a lot of this detail will be hidden, but I thought the texture and paint would be a little bit nicer. But then I really got inspired by the wood and I decided, you know what, I need to work on the door. So I went back and I really took a long time to build this door out last night. So this is probably just going to be a cavity and paint it out. Now it's really hard to see. Let me see if I can angle this. I'm really quite happy with this. So this is actually angled out and it's flexed out, and it's 2 layers. So there's actually a cavity in behind the cavity. So that is not just glued on, there's actually a vaulted cavity. So there's a lot of depth there. So if we paint this out black, I think we're gonna get a really cool look there. And I added a couple layers. I redid the step. I made the step a little bit nicer. And I'll show you guys under the other cam to make this a bit nicer. So spent a long time working on the door last night. In addition to the door, what I decided I wanted to do is I wanted to add some more of that wood. And so this is what we're going to be working on tonight a little bit. I just wanted to add the panels in below. Now keep in mind that that rim's going to run along there, and that's kind of why that gap's there. And so that'll be taken up by that round rim, that brass circle that's going to go around and match the brass rods that are here. Another thing that I want to do is I want to bring those 45s. I'm going to add a wood panel to this as well, just to again bring that wood in the overall design. Now, if you've been following for a couple days, you'll notice, or you'll know that Dark Miner Productions asked me a question that really stumped everybody in chat, and he asked me if I was going to include the pillar, I think he called it the pillar, to the left side of the hut. I couldn't figure out what he was talking about, and so I asked him to take a photo, circle it, and put it into the Terrain Studio Facebook page. So I did. So I went back, and really what he was talking about, to me, I would call it a buttress. So I really got inspired by the question, and I thought, you know what, I wasn't originally going to do that, but he asked. It stuck out in his mind looking at the photo, so I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to incorporate one of those in there. It ended up being at least an hour's worth of work, probably a bit more to get it done right, but there we go. I added in the buttress. So the buttress is now part of the project, and what I mean by that is this piece. Let me go right here. And I'm going to talk about the jewels that are on there, and honestly, it's really, and I don't mean this to just be, I'll get it to focus on the other cam. I don't mean this to just be saying it because he's in here, but I'll tell you right now, a rivet man is Canvas 1, and I originally seen him do rivets, a bunch of grot builds and various tanks that he has built, and so I really learned how to do rivets. Now, he doesn't do rivets exactly like this. He punches them out of plastic card. That being said, I really like using these bedazzling jewels. They come in strings, so you have to cut them. And the reason I like them is they kind of have like sort of a multifaceted head. And I find what happens when you paint them up, they really look like bolts. And so I typically will use them on builds, and it's pure irony that he's in here tonight, but I put those along there because I think if you look at the image you can pick those out. And then what I wanted to do is add in this metal strapping, and I also wanted to incorporate the wood, so the wood and the metal strapping will look really cool. I thought one buttress just broke up the side. You know, we got the door and we got the piece here, and I thought, hey, you know what, that's starting to look like a building. I like the wood incorporated in. I'm also going to finish up these are the other two blank panels, so I'm just working on those right now. So yeah, I've used they are not previously used bedazzled jewels. Like, I didn't steal them off like my wife's shoes or anything like that, but maybe my daughter's toys, I'm not 100% sure, but nonetheless, they are bedazzling jewels, and so hopefully you guys like the looks of that. So we got a little bit of work left to do, but I think we're pretty close to looking like a hut. Now, let's go to the actual table and start looking at some other stuff and get a little bit of work done here while we got a bit of a crowd in here. Please feel free to add any comments or questions. I have chat up on the big screen here behind me, and I can see that while I'm working. So let me just mute this mic. And hopefully you guys got me on mic number 2. So just let me know, sound check, if you guys got me on mic number 2. And hopefully you got me on camera number 2. So if that's working for you guys, fantastic. So looking at, awesome. So looking at the table, or the hut, it looks a lot nicer in this camera because you get a little bit more of a full shot, and I don't have to play around with, you have echo. Hold on. All right, how about echo now? Hopefully I've taken care of the echo there. Sorry, I have to run back and forth. I'm in 2 places at once, but that should have taken care of the echo there. Perfect, fantastic. All right, so looking back at this, now if you're just joining us for the first time tonight, we'll give the old reveal. This is indeed a dog food dish. And no, it's not for my dogs. They're not starving or anything like that, but it is a $2 dog food dish. That's where we started. This is where we're moving to. Last night I also finished, let me just set that aside for a second. I also finished off, with the exception of the one space that I didn't, and I already explained why, but I finished off the platform as well. So when we put these two pieces down together, it's looking a little something like that. And so you guys know that that's going up into the top of the ginormous tree, the 3-footer. And so it's starting to look like a little bit of something, and I thought the wood really played well with the panels. I think that there's enough variation between panels and the wood, as well as the roof texture and then the bamboo skewers to really give us a lot of variety once this is painted up. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And the black windows and blackout door I think will look fine in terms of both being high up in the tree, and I think gives a little bit of depth and gives you the illusion that there's some space in there. Originally I was going to kind of cover over the inside, but I think getting a little bit of light on those weird angles just makes it look like it's a little bit more hollow than it actually is. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to work with that. I did close off the door entirely, so even when that's blacked out, you won't be able to see through that. So I did block that off because I wanted the illusion of the door to be more of a cavity than anything. So nothing special about the platform itself. I pretty extensively explained this in previous videos, but it's all done and ready to go. Everything's trimmed up. I do need to flip this over, rinse and repeat to the other side. This will be the only one that I'll end up doing that to, but that in fact didn't take near as long as I thought it was going to be. So I won't do that one on camera tonight, but that'll be a project upcoming because I do want to get some paint on this. And of course, just showing as I always do, it was requested that I kind of show each part each time, just in case people are new. But this is kind of the look that we're going to go for. This is the base color, but this will end up look something like this before we add any weathering and any of the details to follow. So, and this one just got a canvas wrapping on the back. This canvas wrapping will in fact go on this funnel. This funnel is going to go under. Once we finish up the bamboo skewers, pretending this is the bottom, this is going to go on there. That's going to flip over, and we're going to get the canvas wrap on the bottom. So this will be a rather large piece, nowhere even close to the size of the actual tree on this. So, all right, so we'll set all that aside. So just going back here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer questions and I'm going to work. That's about it. Didn't take me near as long to show you as it took to make, but as you can guess, there was a ton of cutting. The door took me quite a while. The door ended up being 2 pieces for the step, 5 layers for the door, just with the back layer and all the subsequent cowlings that we have. Then I did a trim piece around here to give it a little bit more dimension. Then obviously all these individual sticks, it would be fantastic if I could just put them down, but of course they're rounded end, so I have to cut off the ends and flush them up first. Some of them are a little bit bowed and beveled. They're actually coffee stir sticks. I've had these for like 100 years, and today when I was thinking about this, I was A, surprised I remember where they were, and B, I was surprised how good they looked once I got them on here. So good that I hung on to those so long. So we have a bunch of bottom panels to do. Then I'm going to come and cut in the 45s, and first and foremost I'm just going to finish out these panels. I did the more difficult one, the one with the buttress on it, and I just have to finish up here. It's basically just straight up and down ones, and then I have a little bit of angle work to do in there. So there's your recap, folks. So now it's just basically me hanging out, answering questions, and generally killing some time. I should slide these skewers aside. So it's really kind of cool, and this has happened a couple times, but their label is $1.25, which is a steal for 100 skewers. So effectively doing that platform that I showed you over there is about $4, $5. But they come up as $1 every store I go to every time. So I'm not 100% sure why, but you know, for $1, I definitely can't go wrong. So this whole project, the bulk of the work is probably going to be done for the bulk of the skewer work for about $16. You really can't go wrong. I can't buy a building 3D printed already for $16, and I'm going to probably build six to eight structures for the same price. So not to downplay 3D printing, I'm just saying that if you want to put in the time, materials aren't a lot for scratch building. So okay, and yeah, the jewels that I was talking about, let's show those briefly before I start. So here's the bedazzling jewels. They come in these strips, so when you pull them off, they are attached to each other. And so all you have to do is take your knife and cut them. They do have a little bit of a glue, a sticky backing on them. I typically don't take it off because I find that it helps me to keep it in place as the super glue dries, so it's almost like a third hand. The only thing is you want to trim around the edges. You don't want the gummy stuff to kind of squeeze out the side. It just doesn't look that nice. So we'll get rid of that. So it's just going to be a bunch of back and forth with me with this piece. So I have chat up. I will look at chat and answer all the questions I can. I could do as many show and tell items as you wish. I'm just going to use that temporarily to prop this up to give me a little bit of a better shot for you guys. And maybe I'll angle you up just a touch here. Fantastic. So that was a lot of me, and now hopefully a bunch of you guys. So the test fit, like I said, some of these are a little bit skewed and wonky just because they're not the highest quality wood, but the grain's really nice in them, and they're thin enough that I can cut through with the hobby knife pretty easily, and they're thick enough that they provide a little bit of depth to the wall panels. So I'm just trying to fit them in, make nice tight fits. 100% sure if I have that vertical, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I said it's gonna be facing into a tree, so it's not really gonna be a visible piece. Press and hold. So any questions, folks? Or let me know what you're doing tonight, or morning, I guess, or afternoon, wherever you are hailing from on the planet. How was your COVID-19 isolations going? How have you been passing the time? Cutting those bamboo, yeah. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. So Cam is pointing out that these sticks are a little bit, these ones are a little bit tougher than he had anticipated. Now, I'll tell you, one of the tricks that I was originally doing was I was rolling kind of like this to cut, and then just giving a little bit of a snap, and that left me a fairly flush end. But for this one, what I actually did was I took my my snips and I actually gave it a little bit of a press, and I'll just show the two ends, and then I'll break one just so you guys can see how not nice they are. So looking here, that's the broke end, and so that's obviously not good unless you're going for that. The round cut and then snap is about as flush as you're going to get, but you get a little bit of a knob on the end, and so if you're trying to flush fit that against something, it actually ends up being there's a gap. And then for mine, what I did is I did the snips, and that gave me a nice pinch. And for the platforms, what I found was in doing that, I was able to get a really nice non-manicured edge, but consistent enough that it really looked like it was hacked down. So they would have been tooled into the shape that they are. So I went with the snips both for convenience and for looks. So, but I do agree they are a lot tougher than one might think. So. Question, looking for 3 4x4 tables to be built. How much have you got on your plate these days? You know what? I finished up about 11 straight months of FFG work, and I am currently finished that. And this actually is a fill the time project, Aaron. So to be quite honest, I am truthfully really open, and it's a super good time. And I can likely really get focused on some builds for you if that's what you're in fact looking for. So, yep, it's a fantastic time. Just having a look here. This is a touch wonky, but I think in the end it's gonna be a wash. I feel like one of these was just they all are a bit wonky, but again, that's shouldn't really be fussing because I said I want this to look not manufactured. So I think having a little bit of a skew here and there and a little warp in a board is only going to lend to the look. So I'm just holding it up so I can look. It also is a little bit distorted because I'm looking at the side. No, that is pretty actually straight. I think my eyes are crooked. Yep, that's perfectly fine, Aaron. That's fantastic. I do appreciate you considering me for sure. If you're up for my mediocre work, then I'm your guy. No, we did so much work. I had the team just humming here for about 11 months. I even brought on a couple other painters just to knock out some projects. So, when it's a little bit slower, I like kind of building. I like working with the team, and I like working solo. So, but I think when it comes to doing a project, having more hands on deck and being able to sort of divert some work to the people who are better at something is a really nice thing to have. Here I got to do my own painting here, and it's terrible. It's basically torture. I know there's a question that just popped up or a comment. I'll get to it in 1 second. I think Aaron's referring to my self-deprecation. I said deprecation, by the way, there, just in case anybody's listening. How is everyone filling in their COVID-19 isolation? Canvas, how are you guys keeping down your end? I'm going to put 2 little spaces. I haven't put any spaces in here, but I think a little bit of space adds a little bit of variety. I'll just black that out and just, give that, 2 boards just don't quite go together. And I could close it in, but I think, why not? I'll just add a little bit of variation. And Aaron, same question. I'm not sure how close you two are, but what's the COVID situation like? I think I saw today you guys had quite a few cases popping up. Okay, fair enough. So if you are not familiar with Back to Basics, Aaron, he is responsible for all the paint racks that you guys see in the studio photos. So all the really cool studio colored ones, the black and clear ones, the hoppers, the cool fig trays, or fig displays or paint displays that I have here in the studio. So and as well as all the tiles that you've seen me work with in the past, if you followed my past projects, that's all his doing. So can't thank Aaron enough for that. Fantastic to work with it. And well, since starting with it, basically short of a few like straight 3x3, the 3x3s really lend almost better to go straight MDF, but the magnetic tiles are something I've worked with a ton. Love them, and you guys know me, I only say that about stuff I actually love, and so take that for what it's worth. But I can't say how awesome they are. Love magnets. Lots of places closing here. Looks like I'll be losing my job. Oh, that's really crappy to hear. Really unfortunate. Sad to hear that. Hopefully there's greener pastures on the other side for you. And I think the job loss, I was just saying to my wife, we are both teachers. We are not, well, my wife is on maternity, but we are not working in the school setting, but we are kind of just back to trying to provide some secondary or supplementary learning opportunities, as they are referred to right now. So we are fortunate that we aren't, but the job loss that this has created is something I would not have predicted, and it's super unfortunate. So I know the governments are really trying to bail people out, so hopefully that falls your way as well. Okay, fantastic. I can actually hear you saying that in your voice right now in my head, so getting a good chuckle out of that. Yeah, that's fantastic. I know our government is really expediting the unemployment insurance for people too. So doing what they can. I mean, there's so many fronts to this COVID, and outside of just the medical side of like dealing with it, it's crazy. It's mesmerizing to watch it on the news. To be quite honest, I've been fascinated and glued to it. I usually, when I don't have my headphones in to drown out my own voice, I usually have it in my ear, piped in, just listening to it. So, updating my wife until she tells me I'm no longer able to tell her anything about it for the day, and then I just prattle on to myself. But yeah, amazing how impactful this thing is. I say amazing in the sense that it's just so widespread. It's something that we probably won't see, and hopefully don't see for some time again. Okay, I'm gonna put a little sliver in there, just because there's a teeny spot that's awkward gap. Yeah, Aaron pointing out that basically anything that's on the internet and other people is kind of the only social interactions that we're getting. So I don't nearly live stream this much, but I do honestly want to do it a lot better or a lot more. I built this studio space to, to work in here. So if you guys are, I'm pretty sure Canvas hasn't seen this, so I'll give it a little scan. So I scratch built this 1-to-1 scale Death Star backdrop, and so this is the layout. That's the window. I just put some stuff in to block it, but it's actually the blast door. And then you guys can see over there to the actual podcast area, and just a soundproof wall there. So I've been having a lot of fun, working in here, and two, I just made it because I got tired of looking at unfinished walls and all the, the boring stuff. So, hey, when I got it, I might as well use it. Usually I have people over here and they're playing and all that good stuff, and we kill time that way, but in the COVID-19 era, we're no longer allowed to play with friends. I need a pen, which I thought I brought over. Apparently I did not. 1 second. Yeah, I agree, Aaron. I've seen a ton of stuff lately from people. I know I have some clones arriving here very soon. So Jace, Big Jace, one of the two that works in the studio here, has been working on them for me. So I'm eager to get them. What I seen you were painting the other night, Aaron. What were you painting? And Canvas, what are you painting these days? So still the Warhammer, or doing anything else, or anybody else who's in chat for that matter? I mean, got a few people in there. Brian, if you're in chat, what are you working on? Sure, who else we have in chat? Adding a little sliver in there to kind of create a cracked board as well, just a little bit more character, I guess. What is Aaron saying here? How would you go with a Discord type thing for a group conversation? That's probably possible. I don't really use Discord too much. I should set up a Discord. I'm not sure how Discord would work 100% with Ecamm. I'm not sure if they would interface well or not. One of the things that works, if you're really interested, is you can Skype me, and I can have people Skype in to the corner, and I can have corner conversations going on. Yeah, I know Gunbarrel about setting up the Discord server. I'm just not 100% sure if it would interface with Ecamm in terms of the audio. I have not tried that. It does work with pretty much everything else. Skype, Zoom, all those seem to work perfectly fine. But Skype always works. You can do audio only. So if people are interested, I just need a Skype contact, and you can be playing over the system. And I'm taking a little break here, read some chat. Fantastic. Orcs, okay. Age of Sigmar, all right. We won't fault you too much there, Aaron, for the Games Workshop plug. And okay, Canvas one, all right. We won't we'll be Game Workshop friendly here. But fantastic. Always loved your 40K stuff as well. So. And a lot of people seem to be quitting War Machine, it seems. So, and Brian is saying he's working on a building. Oh yeah, the dragon. That's right. And I still want to hear about those 3.0s. You'll have to send me some photos. So Brian talking about the 3.0. I forget the percentage that he gave us. Basically, it's like 0.5% off of black hole color absorption. So. Fair. All right, fantastic. So seemingly no offending canvas about anything. So I appreciate that for sure. And I really don't have a hatred for Games Workshop at all. I feel peer pressured to just join the masses and giving them a hard time. So I think they still put out some of the best models ever. So I just don't happen to play any of their games. So I am truthfully just eyeballing the heck out of this board here. So I may have to take a couple stabs at this guy. As an added extra layer for certain sessions, bringing people into chat with you. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you watch much of the podcast at all, Aaron, but that's what we typically do. Joe and I will cast, and we throw people in. We sometimes do roundtables where we just bring in 3 to 4 people at a time. But as I said, anyone who is interested in just popping into studio chat, like when I'm live working, just let me know. And pop your Skype handle in the bottom. I literally can bring you in 3 seconds, and I agree it's fantastic to have somebody else in here, chatting away with me. It always translates, as you said, much better. I think Brian had posted up the exact percentage there in chat for us. What are we looking at, Brian? 99.95% is absorbed. So has anyone worked with these 3.0 paints? I'm intrigued, to be 100% honest, by these. I almost, I'd love to just paint some of these recessed windows with that stuff just to see how it works. Or I don't know, some lava pools or something. Be interesting. All right, we've kind of closed that off. I'll bring that over here so you guys can see what's going on. So again, just closed off. That'll paint and stain up really nicely. It'll be a little bit of a contrast between the flat brown that we'll get on here, and we'll still ink and stain these, but that will probably generate a lot more recessed pooling, and so we'll get that in the edges and around the trims and things like that. None of the definition's really going to show up here on the white on white on white. However, that should translate out fairly nicely with the airbrush. We can put a little bit of highlight on this. Here, though, we can just end up staining and getting that looking, probably just more natural, just with very little effort. So. Yeah, okay, so you guys are just having a chat about the paint. Fair enough. Feel free to carry on with chat. So, so that ends off the 2 panels there, the 1 panel there. And so now I think what I'll do, just while I have you guys on here, actually, let's just go over here. Let's create a finished look. So I'm going to just add some of the 45 pieces up here, and then that'll basically finish off between the buttress and the door. So I might as well work on that. I can do all this bland side later on. So Canvas, if you're still in a chat, I'm going to flash the tree here real quick because I'm fairly certain you hadn't seen that. I always get a kick out of the reaction when people get to see it for the first time. So okay, while I wait on that response, let's just figure out what we're going to do for the top sections here. Now, I already have a panel across there, so the wood's actually going to go on there. It's going to be a little bit thinner, and it's going to create one more line. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave the recess towards the top, and it's just going to give us one more spot for ink to pool and catch. So Dark Miner, I hope you really caught the fact that I put the buttress in 100%, especially for you. So I really hope that you appreciate that. Your question inspired me. I added it, and so there it is. And you can take full credit for the addition of that to the hut. So, okay, what am I doing? Here we go. All right, sorry, just reading chat there. All right, time to start cutting this at some 45s. I need to get out a protractor and make a small, need to get a piece of plastic for a template. This will work right here fine. Don't make fun of me, I'm using a protractor. I think this might already be 45. Fantastic, that was just also super convenient. These, speaking of hard to cut, these sticks are a lot tougher than I thought as well. So typically I don't even get to cut through them. I basically just press in far enough with the knife and then I give a little snap and generally peel a little bit of the layer off the back, but as long as I don't peel the front, it's fine. So it comes out, let me see if I can get that on camera, comes out nice there, but if you get on the back side, there is a little bit of shaving there. So I like being a dad quite a bit, to be perfectly honest. I'm a little bit, upset sometimes when I miss quite a bit when I'm at work. So you know, like I'll leave and baby's not doing something, and I'll come back and suddenly doing something. But my wife's really good about sending a lot of photos, a lot of videos, even at work, and so I get to keep up that way. So this COVID-19 thing's actually a little bit of a fantastic piece that I get to be home more. So I'm before I kind of would like leave sometimes before baby's up and get home like an hour before baby's going to bed, and so now my day is filled. So now I'm up with baby in the morning, and then I do the bath time routine. That's kind of been falling into my my purview. So that's kind of a special time for me, I guess, to get soaked with water, as apparently splash time is what I should call it. So since you're here, though, let me show you the tree real quick. So here's the tree, and up there is where we're going to go with the platform. So the platform itself is going to position. I guess I didn't really position the tree too well there. Guys, I got a nice overhead shot tonight, I guess, because the. Just fit that skewer around. Awesome. So yeah, so there, I think the overhead's capturing that. Yeah, nicely. Let me just tame this light down for a second, a little bit. Give you a little bit. So yeah, that's where the platform is going to go. So you got the really cool angle, right? Like currently you're seeing the glow through there, but we'll actually have the skewers on the bottom. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then the hut that we're working on, obviously, hut's going to come up here and fit in something like that. Buttress is going to go just on the back side. And so the hut's going to go something like that. Obviously, you're seeing only the roof in the overhead, but that's where that's at. So we back this up just a little bit, and we give you guys just a slightly different angle. Let me grab a fig for scale. The other platforms, they're going to start to fit and fix off here. And then that's a fig for scale for the tree. So you can see on a 3x3 table, it's going to be pretty substantially large and take up lots of room, but be also super cool and awesome. And look forward to checking it out when it gets all finished. So hopefully you guys are as well. we've been progressing pretty quickly here on the build, so I'm happy with that. I did spend a lot more time on the hut than I originally had planned, but I think it's coming out to look better. And the way I look at it is really the build's not for anyone. The build is going to be a showcase piece. We're going to want to show off all the skills that we can do things, and so yeah, so we just want to have fun with it. So all the parts about building the tree and the shaving and all that, that's actually over on my Patreon. So this month I'm doing all the videos for free. I'm putting everything out live. I'm doing all the live studio work. So I don't have those videos to show you guys in terms of that, but in a few months time, that stuff might eventually find its way out. But if you're interested, you can go check that out. It's kind of a cool process how to kind of carve that out. It just took some time. It's, again, no special skills here. No superpowers. Everything's just a little bit of elbow grease and time. So it all can be done in the comfort of your own home. All right, so let's get back to cutting what we were doing there. I didn't manage to be very successful in this. All right, so I did cut 145, and I need to figure out roughly. I need to make myself kind of a gauge here so I can get a piece that's going to be roughly the appropriate size, and then I'll have an idea of how long I need to cut these stir sticks here. I used all my pieces that I cut, so I don't really have a blank. So I'm just going to cut a plastic piece that's going to be roughly appropriate. Go. That'll roughly work, and then we'll finagle it from here. If it's too short, we'll cut another one. If it's too long, we'll trim it down. Easy peasy. Fantastic. Yeah, when I first pitched the idea to my friends, I said I want to make a Kashyyyk tree. And I'd seen somebody had attempted to make one, and they did one, and it was pretty large. I'd probably say it was maybe 1.5 feet, 16, 18 inches maybe. Hard to tell. I didn't see it in person, but I thought, what, that's not big enough for me. And I think in order to get all the things on it that I envision, it needs to be bigger. So then I started off and I was like, okay, well, maybe 2 feet, no, 2.5 feet, now 3 feet. Well, then I got to put a canopy on this. So this tree will probably be around 3.5 feet or so when we get it all done. Which in a game that's basically Warhammer size, it's going to be impressive. You know what? Truthfully, it's not even close to in scale. It's still well undersized, but I think it'll do the trick and give the illusion of being ginormous. So, I mean, partially because it is ginormous, but that's nor here nor there. It's just fun. It's just really fun to have a piece that's that big. I also kind of wanted to see if I could just do it as a kind of a personal challenge. I cannot wait to put the celluclay on it, because when that all gets on there, that tree is going to start weighing like 20-30 pounds. Right now it weighs about 4. I guess the MDF on the bottom is all the weight, so but it'll be fun and probably not move around much. Which, by the way, I should say, I also bought one other thing today too. Easily distracted, by the way. So I bought this when I was looking for when I picked up the skewers. I bought this. It's what is it, a cake board? Yeah, cake board. And so it's really thick laminated cardboard. Or it's laminated cardboard, and it's thick because it's laminated. And so it's nice and sturdy. It's also fairly lightweight, but it's got some weight to it. And I thought this would be really cool as a ground building. So what I'm going to kind of do is build sort of like an open air version of this. So it'll end up being about the size of the roof, so it's a little bit bigger. And what I'm probably going to do is thinking. I was thinking about building a couple sets of stairs to go just up, maybe 1 or 2 steps up to elevate this. Put some skewers coming down through, but the ones that go down through, I'm also going to have them run up. And so there'll be the legs and the pillars. And then on top of the pillars, I'll build the roof structure. And I thought there's a potential that if I build the roof structure, I can build a small secondary roof structure as well, and do kind of that offset roof that is known on Kashyyyk. And I thought that'd be a nice ground dwelling. So if the tree was, here, roughly where that building is right now, and this sat over in the corner, I think that would be nice to have kind of platform, ground dwelling. And in the top, well, of course, we have this building here, and then we talked about the 2 secondary platforms. So it ends up having about 5 platforms, 2 big structures. I thought about doing 2 small secondary structures as well. And then we have the beach coming in, and then we have a few rocks and trees to kind of finish off the table. So I think with all of that, it should be a fairly dense 3x3 table. It's going to be fairly dense with height. It's going to have mid height. It's going to have elevated height, and it's going to have obviously some very topographical height in the sense that we'll have that canopy and the above head the platforms above your head. So as I said, I'm 6'5", and the tree goes above my head when it's at the table. So if you're playing at the table and your average height human, let's just say 6 feet, it's going to be really neat because as you're playing, you're actually going to have to look up to some of the features on the table while you're playing down on the table in front of you. So it's really going to be kind of cool and make a really cool visual experience for players. It's just my general musings about that, about kind of where I got the idea for the table, or how I got inspired, I guess, for the table idea. All right, let me just put some stuff there. So if you guys are working on anything cool, let me know if you got any, or if you got any cool ideas. It doesn't have to be a Legion table. It could be for whatever respective game that you play. I'm interested to hear what Aaron's got in his mind's eye that can be potentially replicated and built. So that's what one of those looks like there. I'm gonna just bring that back a little bit closer. There you go. So that's just the 45s, just added onto the existing 45s in the plastic, and I think just that little wood treatment at the top really finishes off each of the panels, and it will tie in nicely. So every panel is going to kind of have a wood feature. Every panel is going to have a plastic card feature, so it'll be kind of the brown paneling, and then you're going to have these brass rods going around the outside of the building, as well as that treatment that's going to go along the bottom. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. The rod that's going to go along the bottom is going to be kind of like a metallic one, so maybe even a non-metallic metal. So something in the gray range, like deep gray range. Then we'll have the brass here to bring in some nice color. We'll have the wood, and we'll obviously have it inked, and then we'll highlight some of the upper panels just kind of bring that out. And I envision kind of a reddish brown for the roof. And then what we'll do is we'll moss treat that first with just some weathering inks. And then we'll actually put some physical moss in terms of some flocking. So probably start with like an earth blend to kind of give us those olive tones, and then we'll probably pop up to like a medium green just to bring that in, and we'll carry that through the whole tree just so it doesn't look out of place. But I think that'll be cool. And then the top shroud here is going to be treated with the hide, and then that tip will tie in with the bottom tip. Which will be quite nice, and then we'll obviously have the bamboo that goes around. So lots to be done on just this building alone. So hopefully you guys are going to be sticking around in terms of the builds for a while. We'll be working on this for it's going quickly, and I'm putting a lot of hours in, but still everything translates into, it just seems to take a long time. A question here from Aaron, or what he's saying is he's looking for fantasy, sci-fi, and modern Marvel tables. Okay. Fair. When you say Marvel, are we talking Crisis Protocol? Because if that's the case, I have a Crisis Protocol table design in my head that I was going to do. I was really stoked for Crisis Protocol, and then I don't know, something just fell off for me. It still looks very awesome. I just don't know if I can keep up with the releases how I like to in that game and Legion, because if you guys have seen my Legion wall, it's a little out of control. When someone asks you if you have an online store, there's obviously a visual problem, and the answer is no. I just really I like to buy Legion, so. But the scale of the game, the models are incredible. I've played it. I played it at Gen Con. I played it when they debuted it. I played with the actual designer of the game. He walked me through a game, and we did a little or a video recording for that. And it was cool. If you like to roll dice, that's a cool game. And Aaron's confirming, yes, Crisis Protocol, fantastic. I'm sure you have lots of ideas, Aaron, so don't let me steer you towards any one idea. But I think that game, I like the interaction with terrain, and that's one of the things that really drew me to it. I'm not off the game. I don't think it's by any means bad. I've just been playing so much competitive Legion and podcasting about Legion and building for Legion, and it's just really hard to get super invested in multiple games for me. So go too hard, I guess. But I've always been like that. I was Flames of War. Then I was all about X-Wing for 2 straight years, did nothing but X-Wing. And then I switched over to Legion 3 years ago. I still played X-Wing in the first year, so I did have that overlap. But it's been all Legion all the time here. So, okay, just something street level. All right. If you're interested in just plain old boring street level, I guess that's something you can do, Aaron. I mean, you could do other cool stuff too. Just saying. Just kidding. I think there's so much you could do in Crisis Protocol. One of the things that I really think that game or a table designed in that realm lends well to is putting a bunch of Easter eggs, doing so many cool hidden things. You can do them in Star Wars Legion because there is kind of those elements that lend to that. But I mean, Marvel's got kind of those underlying jokes and things. So I think it translates really well to the table. No giant trees, subway levels. Okay, yeah. I'm following. I mean, you could just make a table that plays on multiple levels. I don't know, maybe a cutaway that has a subway. Just saying. Could do that. Maybe you got a couple building cutaways. Maybe you can see some rooms from the inside. Is there a competitive General Grievous list? Oh, you better believe it, Brian. Double the Fall is one of... it just did super well in an online tournament. People are just playing online Legion right now in TTS, just in the interest of keeping games. But Double the Fall is Dooku and Grievous. Fantastic. Grievous with tank, Grievous with double tank even. Grievous is an absolute monster. He is a blender and a force to be reckoned with. So the only thing with CIS right now is that they don't have a lot of depth in their commanders, and their 2 commanders are expensive. But they are getting some more units that are going to come to the rescue here pretty soon. But definitely Grievous is fantastic. and very competitive. Fair. Yeah, it's a low blow, Aaron, but I'll take it. Aaron pointing out that he didn't want to challenge my mediocre skills and go beyond the scope. So, I mean, you can still dream big, even though if your skills don't measure up, that's fine. I mean, that's pretty much everything I do. I mean, I wanted a 5-foot tree, to be perfectly honest, but I couldn't go any higher than the camera because it wouldn't translate. So. Can I only play Grievous? He's the only character that I'm mileage. Well, you could, but even fully decked out, you'd be playing about 250 points in an 800-point game. So if you mean only Grievous as a general, then yes. But you are going to want to have some core units around him. But yes, you can 100% play Grievous. I'm not sure if you're interested, Brian, but the AAT, the tank, has just been released. It's like making its way to stores now. I guess in theory, some stores may not get it for a while. We're hearing, but Grievous with a couple AATs is absolutely devastating. It's definitely a skew list, but if you want to go maximum fun and super killy, it's definitely going to be something that will translate well. So there's another one of those that, by the way, I'm actually getting some work done, very little, but I'm enjoying chatting with you guys. So I will trade off work productivity for that any day. I just keep grabbing the exact same piece. That is too short. It's too short there, too short everywhere. Felt like I was breaking into a Dr. Seuss rhyme there. Yeah, if anything, when I finish this project, if you hear me complain, it'll be because I wanted a bigger tree. Oops. There's always a bigger fish, they say. It's always a bigger tree. This one fits better on this side if you're wondering why I just switched sides there. Just this one needs to be a touch longer, so we'll make one that's just a slightly longer than our jig. Our blank here. Brian, do you have people playing Legion in your space? I mean, I'd offer you to fly up here and play anytime. Come up for a gaming weekend. Lots of people, for sure, if you get some time. I 100% assure you no one snores here. You cannot make me the same assurances. Little side story. Brian knows what I'm talking about. And it's not him, so don't think I'm poking fun at him. Well, that's appropriate. See, if you were all Skyping in, you guys could be laughing and joking and break up the silence of this monotonous banter that I'm subjecting you all to. So there we go. We're getting there. We're getting a little definition. I mean, if you were here 2 days ago, this looks significantly different than. What do we have? Something we started with? I think we do. 1 sec. I'll grab one. This is what we started with. So this to this, I guess, this way. There. I mean, we're getting there. I mean, it doesn't look like this anymore. I mean, if you had real skill, it would. I mean, you wouldn't even know it was a dog food dish. But I mean, this. I guess technically it doubles as a as a dog food dish still. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's what happened. So let's cut a couple more of these as we're working. So Aaron, I think since you suggested it, I think you're first up with Skyping in to chat. I'm sure people would also like to know kind of what it is you do and what you can offer. And like I said, that goes to anyone who's kind of hanging out. Brian, yourself, Canvas, anyone. If you got, even jump on for 20, 30 minutes, rotate in, out, whatever. I think it would be fun, interesting. Kind of like we do, like I said, it's like we do our roundtables, except they're a little bit more Legion focused, and generally I'm not working, and Joe's usually assembling or gluing something together. Ugh. Fantastic. You don't even have to put your face on camera. You guys can just jump on and let people hear your sultry voices. How will 2 tanks work on this board? I don't know. The thing is, okay, well, one, at skirmish level, it's 500 points. So there's a few kind of like build restrictions. So one being you can only have 1 heavy, which would be a tank. However, Grievous would be absolutely ridiculous on this table. Line of sight blocking, getting him to mid-table, basically turn 1. Once he touches things, he's an absolute blender. I mean, he has 4 lightsabers, and it's pretty much written in his profile. And so droids close combat, or I should say Grievous close combat, absolutely disgusting. The tank itself would essentially be able to fire from like into anywhere from turn 1. It wouldn't even need to move for the entirety of the game, just based on its range, and the fact that the table is much smaller. So yeah, it would translate nicely. The only downside, I guess, which there always should be, is the ginormous tree trunk would potentially provide an entire army cover. So you may need to flush out the army with a Grievous around one side and the tank around the other, but I think it'd be super fun. Obviously, the tank can't climb trees, and so there may be some safety up there. However, Grievous has this cool rule called scale, which makes him basically able to climb everything and blender most things. So yeah, I like his chances. Plus, it would just be cool to see. Yeah, so Aaron is seemingly up for that. Work out a time frame, absolutely. I can go later or earlier, typically quite easily right now, because I'm here. Probably shouldn't go too much during the workday since I'm working, but certainly shortly after or even early mornings, although you guys are stateside here, are probably not interested in coming to check out some terrain work at, whatever time translates over, 5 a.m. or some foolishness like that, but we'll figure it out. Australia being on the other side of the world, just a slight inconvenience. There we go. What do I got here for weekend? Yeah, yeah, that makes perfectly sense. I mean, you are trying to do something. I'm up for it. I have said originally I was going to do kind of a staggered schedule here, but I'm really riding the high of getting a lot of work done and being on camera. although I don't generally translate out as much work as I do off camera, it is a nice motivator for me to get things done off camera so that when I come on, I have A, something to show, and then two, something to kind of work my way through. And then you guys are also interested because you want to come back. Well, I'm theory crafting here. You come back because you're interested to see what's going on. I think I have a captive audience thanks to COVID, but it would be cool if when all that clears up, eventually, if you guys stayed tied to the studio work, that would be fantastic. If you're enjoying what you're seeing. There you go. And maybe you're vested interest in seeing this table finished. And then so typically what we do for Legion Academy is we'll podcast tomorrow night. So we'll be live tomorrow night around 7 CST. Joe and I usually go for an hour and a half or so. Around I think we're going to be talking about the new releases, the Adepticon preview releases. So we'll be talking about those units, and then maybe talk a little bit. Brian, you might be interested because we may potentially get into talking about Joe's Double the Fall list, which is a Grievous list. At least in theory, you can kind of hear how Joe pilots Grievous. He does a great job at it. So that'll be tomorrow evening. So I will not be broadcasting tomorrow from this channel. But then on Wednesday, we're going to do an April Fool's round table. And so basically, going to ask a few folks in the community. We're going to come on. We're going to be the fools, of course. And then just have some general musings about probably, how we're keeping sane during COVID or how we're not, and what we're working on hobby-wise, and probably get into some what lists and what we're interested in coming out for new releases, all related to Legion, obviously. So that'll be happening on Wednesday, so I won't be broadcasting, although I'll be doing some work. So that'll give me a chance to get a little bit ahead on the project. And then I think I'm just going to go back to just kind of trying to do an hour or so a day with you folks. So I'll probably go another 15 minutes here or so, and then probably go watch some TV with my wife, and then probably come down and work till the wee hours. Go to bed, get up, and work, and do it all over again tomorrow. But yeah, that's these live sessions really do keep me kind of on pace. So it keeps me honest to the project, and it's super fun at this point. I haven't hit that saturation point where I'm like, this is such a slog. I was getting there a little bit with the skewers, to be quite honest, when I initially started doing them, because I hadn't found much efficiencies in them, and I was just like, this is so many. It's one platform, and I have several to do, and I don't want to glue 1,400 skewers down. But I did work through that, and I think I found some efficiencies. I did some initial paint colors, and I was pleased how they sort of translated with at least the bare colors, the base colors. I shouldn't have put that on there yet, because I don't have another piece ready. And so that tended to work out all right. Then I had a little bit of a challenge with this piece. I worked my way through that, and so it's always nice when dilemma doesn't take long to figure out, and generally you're a little bit better for it when you do. So that I'm pleased to say everything has been going fairly smoothly there. I am very eager to get onto the bark. I say this every live session, very eager to do that. And so one of my big motivators is I want to do that, and I'm sure I will regret saying that now and immediately be frustrated with that process. But no, I do want to get to it, and I can't do any of that until I get these elements at least into the tree. I need to see what everything looks like, and so until I can do that, I'm stuck getting stuff done. So that's another motivating factor. Okay, so yeah, do that for sure. I'm just trying to see if I can point you in the right direction. So there's a ton of people out there doing Legion videos in terms of the how-to and the play videos. You could also go later on if you want to listen to some general musings We're probably pushing on around 45 episodes on the podcast as well. But Canvas, if you go look at my Legion Academy YouTube channel, we do something called Friday Night Fights, and I was going to talk about that too. Friday Night Fights is something that I really like doing. I sit behind the camera and I cast, and we have co-casters come on, and we have people in our local scene come and play, and some of them are very new and sort of make their way through the rules, and they're learning and they're getting a lot better, and they're it's a play space for them to test lists safely, have general musings. It ends up being quite humorous at times. But if you want to kind of see some of the play mechanics, you can look and some of those. There's lots of other people that do battle reports as well, so you can check those out for sure. But Legion is super awesome. It's really easy sell in terms of it's Star Wars. So if you like Star Wars, you're probably going to like the game. If you're a war gamer already, it's kind of it translates over nicely. Not trying to spend your money for you, but the game is really super fun. I know, Canvas, you had. I'm not sure exactly how many children you have, but I was fairly certain you had a daughter, if I'm not mistaken. Although I don't know age. So how old is she now? And hopefully I had that right. I just seemingly feel that you had a daughter. And you don't have to say her age if it's not appropriate. That's my baby had just turned 1 year old here, I guess middle of the month. So it's going by way too quickly. Way too quickly. Okay, fair enough. All right, I at least was correct on one account there. So I don't recall them I couldn't even place how old I felt they were when you talked about them before, but seemingly they were probably like me and feel that they're aging quickly. Or I am. I'm not 100% sure which it is, but probably a little A and a little B. Brian, I was thinking about today when you were telling me in the previous chat that you never got your stuff back. What was the compensation that you were able to get for all of your painted minis that you never got back? Did they just give you like replacement value of cost, or do you get some time consideration or paint value, or? I need to trim that piece a little bit more. So Brian unfortunately lost his. When I met up with Brian in Las Vegas, the very first thing that he told me, in his obvious distress, was that his luggage was lost. And I don't mean to laugh or make fun. But here we are at a gaming convention, and the army that he needs to use is missing, amongst other, personal items and things of necessity. So it's really, really bad. I had a buddy of mine. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough. And hopefully that translated out for replacement value for you, because that's just sickening. I travel a lot for miniature war games, and I travel with my minis, and I just never can check them. I just never have. I just have nightmares that that's going to happen, and as a result, I just won't. Potentially, you won't again either, I guess. So, I mean, obviously, sometimes you just don't have a choice. You might have to have other things go with you, or it's too large, or I get it, but it's just a fear I have. Yeah, fair. Bringing 4 armies, yeah, fair enough. You can't fit them. One of the plus sides of Legion really find that most of the armies are quite small, and so I generally can fit them in my bag, plus all my stuff, plus usually a little bit extra. So I jam like 6 or 7 T-shirts in my bag this time. I was bringing down some Legion Academy and TerrainStudio T-shirts for people. So. I'm also gonna do a T-shirt, some T-shirt giveaways on here as well. So just gonna wait till I roll back over onto Patreon. So look for that coming up as well. So got some here in studio finally. So all right, there we go. So we're getting there. It's starting to translate well. It's starting to shape up. I don't think I'm going to do too much more to this when I'm all finished with this. I think that based on the fact that this is really just an aesthetic piece and it's going to be sitting high in the tree, I think the paint work's going to do all the rest of what this needs. I think just adding pieces isn't really going to do much more for it. If I feel I need to add something later, I will, but I do want to shift over and get going with the rest of the platform. And then get this affixed so that I can get onto the next piece. I have another whole structure that I got to do here, so I got to build this one out. I'm gonna have this floating section between there, and I got to figure out how I'm going to exactly create that look. So that's another one I need to do. I need to cover this. I need to cover the other platform, the other small platform. I just have one left of those to do. There's 3 of those. Sitting over there. I need to get this stuff attached to the tree. That is the main priority. I got 2 platforms on the lower section. They're done. The base coats are on. I don't need to do anything else. I need to ink it, throw it on the tree, and then that's good. And then we can actually start the bark going up the tree. So there is potential. I will do the bark in sections because it's going to take a considerable amount of time to dry. And one of the things, I'm just not 100% sure if I want to work from the bottom up, although that seems to be the easiest. One of the downsides is if I work on the bottom going up, that will be dry, and then as I move up, the gravity of the water and the moisture will actually seep down through the midsection back into the lower sections and rehydrate them, and I don't actually want to do that. So I may have to work from the top down, which won't necessarily be problematic if I have this platform ready to go. So if I get this one done, maybe the smartest move is to hard shift over the other 2 small supplementary ones, get the top of the tree done, and then work my way down. So maybe that's what I'll do. I think I've convinced myself just now that's what I need to do. What did you say here? Yeah, okay, fair enough. I read that comment. Sorry, I thought I missed that one. Okay, what do we got for time here? Let's cut a couple more here, and then I will say goodbye to you fine folks for the evening, and let you guys carry on with whatever you're doing, your isolation, I guess. Aaron, you must be like at work now. I guess it would be afternoon for you guys right now. I guess campus would be similar time zone. Which part of Australia are you in, Canvas? Because Aaron's in Adelaide. So I'm not sure if you guys are neighbors or... I mean, the continent of Australia is pretty small, so basically everyone is a neighbor, so... Perth, gotcha. I mean, aren't you guys just like an island? Like everybody's really close. I thought like everybody's on an island was just close by. Love how that translates out. Yeah. Oh, it's an island. It's got to be small. Yeah, it's small. It's like an island the size of, North America. Yes, I was totally kidding about Australia being small. I was listening to a Legion podcast and never translated, in my mind before that, but he was saying that, there's many people in Australia who have literally never been to the other side of the country. So I guess that translates in Canada and the US as well. But I guess because a lot of places are more coastal, there is great potential that you have to travel some distance to get to another major center. So, I mean, we have interior cities. They're not large, but definitely a lot of people travel probably coast to coast in Canada more so than they do in Australia. I don't have exact statistics, but I'm just guessing that that might be more frequently done here. Get Aaron convinced to come up and visit in Canada, so we can actually get some warm weather. Not that temperate stuff that you guys have. We primarily only have two seasons here in Canada, winter and almost winter. So we're actually coming out of winter now, which means it's almost winter again. Yeah, the problem in Canada is that 90% of our water is tied up in housing, in the form of igloo, as the Americans believe. So we have to be careful of hot temperatures. So I wish I only was making up the fact that people have literally believed that we live in igloos, but whatever. Who am I to poke fun? Well, I can't disagree. That's actually a 100% accurate statement. We literally do so. Fair. Mike, a local resident here, chiming in with some back talk. Appreciate it though. As long as everyone is self-isolating, everyone will be fine. Practice social distancing, or as I like to call it, be normal. I do have a Dremel tool. I just really, to be quite honest, Brian, I really like the control of a knife. I don't know. There's something about scratch building where I'm able to kind of cut the pieces to. I don't even know what piece I was working on. This doesn't even seem like this is the one I was working on. I just really like the control that I get from. Know what I did to that piece from the knife. Just being able to kind of manipulate. I think with the Dremel, the precision work would be a little difficult. I was originally using the Dremel to trim the bamboo, but I just found that it gets really obnoxious to listen to something so loud. Unlike me. it just going, using the tool consistently to cut every, 30 or 40 seconds on, off. It got, the monotony of it got too much. So I just really like the knife. It obviously takes a little bit more work, but yeah, fair enough. I do use old school techniques there. Brian coming in. Brian, if you're just coming in now, I'm not sure how much you've been following, but this is my best version of incorporating plastic card and wood. So all old school, definitely going hand cut on this as well, just to really kind of give it that man-made look. So, a little bit of variation here and there in pieces is going to translate fairly well, I think. What Mike actually was trying to say before when he was, given his words of advice was that he's just eager to get over here and play some saber tank. That's what he actually wanted to let everybody know. He hasn't faced the saber, so he wants to come and try it out. Yeah, so you're gonna order your own saber tank, Mike, and then sometime in 2021, you'll get a chance to use it. We're seeing the delays for sure. It's really hurting the new units. So I hope they get that sorted. I mean, it's no fault of their own, but I'm just saying. I'm really glad that I got some friends stateside to get me that unit. Otherwise, I feel I would be waiting some time. I'm really eager to play some Legion. I've been really hurting not having games. Usually playing at least a game or two a week, and we're now down to whatever that event we had that weekend. So I think we're 2 weeks removed from that now. So that's a long time to go without any Legion here in the studio. So that just means we need to hit it hard as soon as we're able to, be around other humans. Or I'll figure out a way to get Deidre to play, but I think I have a better chance of COVID-19 passing. Yeah, that's it's like such a first world problem. Haven't got to play miniature war games in 2 weeks. Oh, the agony. But we are humans, so we'll complain to pass the time, because that's something we can all do well. So we got a few fine folks here. I am going to cut the remaining 5 if you're bear with me as I work my way through these. Feel free to continue chatting, poking fun, and doing all that good stuff. Brian, are you working on other Brian? Are you working on anything cool and interesting hobby related? Is that a funnel on top of the roof? You better believe it's a funnel on top of the roof. That's going to take the shape, and it's going to be covered. Brian had not seen this stuff. It's going to be covered in this here, Brian. This is the paper mache hide covering, and so it's going to get this intricate hide look. That's actually a plastic card dome, and the best part is this actual hut is a dog food dish. It's one of these. and so we've converted it into this cool hut. So it's practical. In a bind, I have a way to funnel liquids into small areas, and I have a rain catching device here. So this is a multi-purpose terrain. And I got the funnels from an automotive store. So I go on my reconnaissance missions. I pick what I want to make first, and then I break it all down into crude shapes. And if the crude shape can be a found object, then I use that as a frame. And anything that I can't find, I build. So, for example, the bottom of this was this top underneath here is a stove element cover. So that's what I started with there. I like the rim. I knew that the rim was going to be usable because I wanted to have these cool shapes on the bottom. I couldn't find something that was this, and so I thought if I did a plastic card cone, I knew it would be under a lot of pressure, but if I was able to flex it inside the rim, it would be able to hold that shape, and I could put a glue trough in. So that's how this came to be. This was the first thing I made, and it was I designed this before I ever bought anything for it. And then, I went looking. I didn't think about a dog food dish, but I did think about this, the idea of this shape. So I found that. Funnels for sure I wanted to use. Let me just grab the piece that was funnel inspired. Where are they? Where are my funnel inspired pieces? Oh, here they are. So these are the platforms that are going to go out in the water, and let me just pull that off. There we go. And so these are going to go out in the water. They're very Kashyyyk-esque, and so these are actually made with a funnel as well. Now the funnels don't really lend too well to having anything go over here. So this is actually an upside down pie, like a pie plate, a mini pie plate, and it's inverted over the top, and then I just did the hide covering over just to break up that design. So then we have the hide all throughout, and that'll get an ink and really pick up the cool look. And then I'm going to do some decorative painting on here, and then they will be essentially finished. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. And obviously we have a wood dowel here, so the wood will tie in naturally with the canvas or the hides. Finishing some bold action armies. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, fair. I suffer from that a lot. My wife actually dislikes going to like dollar stores and things, or even grocery stores. Walking down the utensil aisle, sometimes you can find some kind of cool things that you might want to use. So, but it's kind of a fun thing. So, food containers, packing materials from. Hey, we got a new toaster. Oh, look at that foam that's on the inside. What can that be converted into? Then it suddenly becomes more interesting than the toaster. And then when you want to replicate, you're like, can I buy 3 more toasters and get away with it? And then suddenly you start farming off to friends. Anyone need to buy a toaster? I have a strong recommendation for this particular one. By the way, can I have the packing material? So yeah, those conversations are had sometimes when you're working on things. The life of a hobbyist. I had an idea. Jason and I never did it yet, but I think we'll pull it off. Little Jace, other Jace, not Painter Jace. But we were going to do a challenge where him and I were going to go to a dollar store. We were going to have a $20 budget, and we were going to buy the materials that we wanted to make something with, and we have, like I said, $20. You have no tools, no nothing. So if you need a glue gun, you have to get a dollar store glue gun. If you need a knife, you got to buy a dollar store knife. If you want to, paints, dollar store paintbrushes, everything for $20 at a thrift store or a dollar store. We're going to do a little filming of that, our shopping spree, and then come back. And then what I was going to do is I'm going to teach him, and he's going to make it. So I'm just going to kind of provide guidance and some, helpful tips, and just do a fun, and we'll just, $20 dollar store builds. So that is something that we talked about doing, and then we really got busy here in studio, and we were doing multiple $1,000 builds, and we just kind of lost track of that. But I think that would be something fun, and I want to revisit that for sure. So Canvas, I think, was kind of already there with me on the thoughts there. So let me catch up. How much for your do you have these days? Or how much of your so I'm misreading that. I don't really have anything left for Flames of War at all. I actually gave Jace most of my odds and ends that I had left here, so I don't think I have anything. So totally on the dark side. I have a lot of Legion though, so that's really kind of replaced that collection. Same thing with X-Wing. I got completely out of that, and I sold off all the ships that I had. So yeah. And I think it'd just be fun. Like I said, $20. You're not gonna make a fantastic piece of terrain, but the whole premise of it was this is where somebody who's never made anything might be. This is something that we probably all can have access to. Hopefully, if you're a hobbyist, you have $20 of expendable income. Right now, perhaps not, but just going out with $20 to spend to buy some things from nothing, and basically making something from nothing. So that's something we want to do. So and it would be fun to see what we kind of come up with. So just throw it up on the channel, and it won't be Patreon content because it won't be Patreon worthy, but it'll be fun nonetheless to share. So, and potentially I could derail him. I'll let him spend his $20, but I'll make suggestions. But I've seen people do a lot of things with ramen noodles, so I might suggest. I've seen somebody fix a toilet with a pack. So turns out it's all in a seasoning sauce. So I may try to derail him and convince him to buy a pack of ramen noodles, just to waste $1, because that's the kind of friend I am. And then when it doesn't work for terrain, if my toilet ever gets chipped, we'll have a repair kit on hand. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen those videos, but I think they're absolutely hilarious. Somebody's taken an axe to my door. Don't worry, I got 2 packs of ramen. I'll take care of that for you. And like $90 worth of super glue. I get a massive kick out of those videos. Absolutely love them. And if you don't know that, quick Google search ramen noodle repairs. You can just thank me later. You're welcome. You're welcome, Aaron. I just gave you at least another hour of time killing YouTubing. Why am I? I've done that like 3 times now. Get ahead of myself with the glue. Forget that I need to actually cut and trim. And Brian has a question. I heard it pop up. It says, when you build your tables, do you go with a project plan in detail or kind of a free wheel as it goes? So it's a little bit different. So the whole table is generally for this one I drew a little bit of a plan for a Patreon video, but generally what I do is I get an idea, and I spend about a week just building the table in my head. I have a very visual spatial mind, so it's typically why I like to stand in front of what I'm working on. So I've been doing all these videos, if you notice, in a 3x3 table. It's right in front of me. So the entire time I'm building, I'm always spatially figuring out how much real estate will that consume, how big is that relative to this piece, how much space is it going to take or be from here, how high will that be. So I have an idea already. I can tell you. I'll lay it out really quite simply. So the overhead probably is the best. It's going to have a beach that's going to go right along where I'm standing. The beach is going to have an intrusion that's going to come in this space here. The tree is going to be situated right here in this space. The platforms are going to offset and they're going to be here. These pieces here are going to extrude into the water. So basically start close to the edge and then step into the base of the tree. The cake board that I made is going to be set back here on the ground. And I've already talked about the upper elements. We're going to have the large one here and then two subsequent lower platforms. And so that is the concept that I have been working with the entire time in my head. All of the individual pieces. So when I design it, I know the structural elements. How this exactly works is one of the examples of something that we would refer to as kind of like freewheeling, but it's freewheeling with some restraints, so some seat belts, if you will. So I have some parameters that I need to stick with. Obviously, functionally, it needed to be, I wanted this roof style. I wanted this layered roof. I wanted the edges to be sloped down. I wanted it to be done in panels. However, in building this originally, I wasn't going to do the railing like this. I was going to have them much lower. Originally, I wasn't going to do all these cowlings around the window, but then I got looking at the design and I was like, okay, it needs to have a couple more layers there, so I did that. I wasn't going to incorporate wood originally, but then I like to mix up the texture. And so it fits within the design, so I'm still sticking within the Kashyyyk design. But the materials I use and the exact orientation of things, the door, for example, it doesn't have a door, it has an opening. Well, I didn't like the opening, I thought it was just too plain. So I went and found another door in the Kashyyyk world, and then I transposed that onto here. So all those elements kind of keep me within a certain style, a certain parameter, but the ability to kind of add and subtract things as I go based on how they fit and look, that's where I kind of, we call it freewheel. So the whole table I have in my mind, I know what I want it to look like, and I'm always working towards that. I don't have a lot of reference photos. For example, when I built the Death Star here, I took one photo from one angle, and I just replicated that. I knew that's what I wanted to look like. I like that image, therefore I wanted to create that. I got inspired by the tree. The tree has then since inspired the table. And then so I'm using the individual elements, the features that I can find to really make that world come to life. But the tree itself has dictated the entire project. So basically a response to your question, there's a little bit of both, but primarily I'm working from a design that I just have in my head. I know what I want it to look like. I've done every table I've ever done just like that. Occasionally I have a reference, for example, some of the FFG work I did. I had some biomes to work in, like make it geonosis. Okay, great. So now we do reference. Okay, I found one giant central catacomb, and then I built the table around that. So I got the image, and then I took that image, and then I was like, everything else I wanted to have is going to frame around this. Scarif, had to do a bunker. Okay, one image of the bunker, great. Everything in this build needs to be framed around that. So what does that look like? And that's basically how we go about designing tables. So it's really easy when a customer wants something because they have generally more of a theme in mind, but don't necessarily have a finalized perspective of what they want the table to look like. Like, I want a Sullust table. I'll just use that one for example. So I did a Sullust table. for Michael. And Michael had an image, and Michael wanted it to be very much based off the Battlefront 2. And so what I did was I just replicated his image in the exact orientation that he presented it to the best of my ability. So that one right there, again, the spatial layout was pretty done for me. However, how everything was going to meld together and all the parts that you couldn't see, I had to kind of make those up. And that was a fun project, and it ended up being pretty awesome. Working for customers, it's better to work from something, at least something that they supply you, because you know that particular look, oops, got that one wrong, that particular look is what they're going for, and then you just need to kind of bring that look to life and add in the awesomeness that makes it even better. Some of these are super rock hard. Two left. So if you got any final questions for me, that was perfect. I will answer them before I jump off. I do very much appreciate everyone hanging out this evening and tuning in tonight. These are getting progressively more interactive, which is fantastic. Aaron's suggestion of having some people jump on Skype, I'm more than open to that. It would help me out. In fact, somebody could entertain themselves with the chat window and have conversations that don't involve me. What do we got for time? Oh, geez, I almost went to the 2-hour mark today, so it's wondering my voice is getting hoarse. If I'm painting one of these nights, okay, fair enough, Mike. Yeah, we can patch you in for sure. What do you mean, if you're painting one of these nights? What else are you possibly doing besides painting? That's like literally the only thing that anyone could be doing right now. There's absolutely no other ways to spend your time. Next thing he's gonna say, he's gonna have like people to hang out with. Oh wait, that's just something I don't have. That's happening. I gotta go upstairs. My wife is probably interested in watching some show. Yeah, fantastic, Aaron. I'm also looking forward to hanging out, jumping on here. You can entertain us with your musings. Good God, what am I doing on this stuff here? I just feel like well, that one's gone. Fell into the inside fantastically. All right, let's. That one's too thin. Not thick enough for my template. I think that's what happened. Why it's too thin. And then Mike says something about 81 models done this month. I think he's flexing right now. 81 models. I have 81 models too. Oh, you said painted. No, sorry. Yeah. I don't even have one, so hard flex. I'll have to talk to Jace about this challenge. Consider your challenge accepted, Mike. I'll just tell Jace that he needs to proxy in this fight for me. He's only painted like 65 clones, I think. So, so he's obviously got a lot of work to do. Let's not make that mistake again and actually measure first. Okay, how is it that these fit perfectly the second time, and I do no trimming. And the first time I tried to trim, and it just doesn't fit. It's an anomaly. You're referencing we, Aaron. Is that the crew there? So just to clarify, Jace, little Jace, he will build with the $20, and I will instruct tips, and so it'll be a teaching thing, because secretly I don't know what I can make out of $20, but we're gonna give him a solid go at it. We'll give him something small, like I'll be like, replicate Disney Castle. Here, you have $20. Go. Or I'll be like, build Helm's Deep. You have $20. Go. Or build an Endor bunker. $20. Go. Oh, head to head. That would actually be maybe that's interesting. I also like Brian's suggestion that every tip is 20 cents. We should probably work in quarters, just because it's more convenient, and I don't want to do maths and fifths. Yeah, you guys are really getting my wheels spinning here. 20. Okay, perhaps what I should do then, to be impartial, is maybe I'll get a couple locals to do the $20 challenge. I'll pony up the cash, and we'll have 2 people go to head-to-head. Tips will cost. I will film the spree. I'll also give them a time limit to buy and build. And the build's going to need to be accomplished in 2 hours or less. I like this. I think we could turn this into this might be the replacement for the occasional Friday night fight, because I almost think it could develop into a Friday night fight. Interesting. Jailbreak, welcome. I don't know who you are, but you know my Flames of War work, so perhaps you've seen some things. Oh, okay. Fair enough. So that's a really old reference to the Hermanville table that I worked on. So that would be, geez, I dare say that's probably like 11. No, it's more than 11. I want to say that's like maybe 12 or maybe even 13 or more years old. So I've been doing it a while, so I'm not sure who you are, but thank you. Appreciate that. A very fun table that was done for a good friend of mine, Lindsay Cameron. And so that was a build. That wasn't a commission table. Him and I he wanted to build a table, and so he kind of ponied up all the cash for it, and I just put the sweat equity into the table, and got to play a bunch on it, and we enjoyed the time. That was really an opportunity to get something big, my first kind of real big project. I did a few 6x4s. I think if I remember correctly, that one was 7x6, so slightly bigger. Really fun. It had a cool hill on that, a couple hills actually. So yeah, really fun. Well, it's pretty nostalgic to go back and think about that. So yeah, fair enough, Mark. Sorry, hopefully you've caught up. I'll kind of give you a little bit more of a visual representation. I was just working on getting the top struts. There's the buttress I was talking about, and then that's kind of the finished look there of the hut. So we'll get some paint on that pretty soon, and once we get a few more elements tied in, I think once we put the hut with the platform and then the bottom cowling, and then get the hide, everything will start to look a little bit nicer for sure. But I do appreciate that. So yeah, I wasn't intending to go live tonight, and I just decided I would because I got a bunch done last night, and I thought if I don't go live tonight, I'm not going live tomorrow or the next day. I'm going live, but just on Legion Academy. Then I'd be 3 full days removed from you guys, and I thought I would just skip too much. And so I thought I would. This is a nice happy medium. So just while we're on that topic, I'm going to finish up the wood. I'm going to spend some time finishing up the bottom side of the platform. So that'll be another evening worth of work. And then what I'll do is I'll get that all attached, and I'll probably just start doing the paper mache work on the cowling. And I've already done that on. Hey, good catch, Mark. I'll show you that pillar in a second. So you're referring to it as a pillar, as the buttress, as I'm referring to it as. So I'll do that off camera, and you guys won't really miss anything. I've already done a technical video on all of that, so you guys have seen that. So yes, I added in the buttress. It is right there. So I did a combination of the metal banding. So this white that you see on the front will be painted out as the metallic. And then I did the support here with the rivets, and then I tied in the wood paneling on the inside. So I just did one just to kind of add it, just to break up the monotony and give it a little bit of flavor as we spin it around. So we got, like, a large window side, a single panel, single window, a door, a panel of 4, the buttress, and a double blank. So lots of character around the building. So. What else did I miss here? That looks really good. Fantastic. Making a Patreon fundraiser where the backers come up with the terrain building topics. Okay. Yeah, I think I can make that. I think I can make that happen for sure. I don't even know if you need to make it a fundraiser. I mean, people are already supporting on Patreon, which is fantastic. So, $5 tier gets you access to everything. I probably won't make it an additional cost. I have no problem fronting the $40 for the build. I don't want to make my contestants pay to be on my show. But no, I think that's fantastic. I do like the voting idea of that, though. Just to have some engagement with that. So. And Jailbreak, don't feel the sidetrack. I sidetrack purposefully with the comments. It's truthfully what I'm here for. I'm not really here to do any actual terrain work. It's really a facade. There's somebody just off camera here that will do all the real things. So I'm just a front man here. But no, seriously, the questions are fine. I like the sidetrack. I like engaging with you guys. And that's why I'm doing it. It's really late, so I'm just surprised to have people in so late. So I was late starting, and then and of course we're tracking 2 hours in anyway. So I will be closing it off. But so just to be very clear, Legion Academy tomorrow and Wednesday. So if you're looking for TerrainStudio, or you're trying to snipe in and see if you're missing anything, you will not. I will be live again on Thursday for sure. But if you want to check out Legion Academy stuff, you can do that as well. We'll post it in all of the boards that you probably saw this on, as well as the TerrainStudio channel. I just put a link there. So, but if you want to come in and see us kind of sitting in behind the camera, which I will do because I'll close off over there. Let me pop back over here. Should be able to hear me now. So yeah, I'll be on there. I won't do any builds, but Thursday I'll be back at it, and hopefully Thursday we'll be working on. We'll probably be working on those 2 secondary platforms, so a little bit more skewer work. But you guys will see it more from the structural perspective, because we got to kind of figure out a way to make some ramps or stairs. So that'll be the next challenge. So I'll probably try to theory craft that off camera, and then let you guys know what I came up with and kind of the plan going forward with that. So no, very much appreciated, folks, with you guys sticking with me for the whole evening. Thanks Mark and Jailbreak, Brian, other Brian, Aaron, Mike, Canvas. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody who was hanging out here this evening. Dark Miner Studios was in for a short period. Thanks for him. Gunbarrel we caught earlier in the show. Not sure if he's still here. Yeah, and then I think we got everybody there. So appreciate all that, guys. If you're interested in checking out things, obviously the Train Studio on Facebook, that's a place you can go check out the Train Studio Patreon, see what's there. All the content this month is free, so you'll see all the stuff that I've posted for these. They'll be there, and I'll share them on the Facebooks and all those other fun things. And so hopefully I'll see you guys back. Yep, fair enough. See you later, Mike. And yeah, Aaron and anybody else, like I said, if you're interested in popping into the video, all I have to do is really simple. I can just simply add Skype guests. You'll pop in the corner, even if you're just audio. And when I'm on the other screen, you don't even have to have a blank box up. Anyway, just your voice will be on there. People can hear you. I can chat with you, and we can make it fun and interactive. So, and I can add as many people as I want. So if you're interested in that, and just come in, tell us what you're working on, just general musings and chat, and keep us entertained. So have a good evening, everyone. Hashtag stay safe right there in the corner for everyone, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.